From screaming all night in gut-wrenching pain in a hospital bed to getting the highest bid at the 2025 IPL auction, Rishabh Pant's miraculous journey has been one of hope, resilience, strength, guts and tenacity. In fact, words fall short. It was still dark at 5:30 a.m. on December 30th, 2022 on the cold and windy Delhi-Haridwar highway as a Mercedes AMG GLE 43 Coupe cruised along within speed limits at 80 km an hour. Inside was the maverick Rishabh Pant driving alone through the early morning mist, eyes heavy and fighting sleep. Still feeling happy?
इस साल फिर सरप्राइज दूंगा. Mom will be happy again.
Suddenly his head droops and for a split second his eyes close. The car violently smashes into a highway divider, metal screeching as it collides against the concrete barrier. The luxury vehicle tumbles, flipping multiple times before landing on the other side of the divider, almost as if waiting to be hit again by oncoming traffic. But luckily for him, a conductor of a passing Haryana Roadways bus spotted the wreckage. "Ruko, ruko!" As the bus driver and conductor rush to the smoking car, they see sparks beginning to erupt from the spilled petrol. Through one shattered window, a barely conscious man weakly signals with his hand for help. The brave driver immediately peels away the broken shards of glass from the driver's side window and tries to tug on the wounded man. Yet it seems impossible to budge him. His right knee, twisted at an unnatural 90-degree angle, is blocking any movement. Time was short, the car's trunk had already caught fire. But barely conscious, Rishabh's instincts were still working as he pointed the men to hold his knee. And in a split second, with all the courage he could muster, he himself twisted it back into position. The impediment out of the way, the duo carefully extracted Rishabh out, dragging him away from the burning wreckage. A mere 2 to 3 minutes later, the car exploded into a massive fireball. It was while they were dragging him away that the conductor recognized him.
अरे ये तो ऋषभ पंत है.
In the local hospital, the doctors there could barely recognize India's star attacking wicketkeeper batsman. His body was swollen like a waterlogged piece of wood, his once strong muscles hanging battered like the remnants of a warrior. And his right knee resembled a catastrophic battlefield where not a single ligament was spared. Bones stood exposed from the back of his neck to the lower waist. At Max Hospital to where he was shifted, it took 5 hours of bandaging just to stop the bleeding, making him look like a preserved Egyptian mummy. And so heightened was his sense of survival that it took 2 rounds of anesthesia to put him to sleep. The only thing left untouched were his teeth, still a stark white against a landscape of bloody red. Even the slightest movement would make Rishabh squirm in pain, and his screams could sometimes be heard echoing through hospital halls. Yet, an unbreakable spirit, Pant smiled to his best friend Umesh.
भैया आ गए आप.
When his childhood coach Tarak Sinha came visiting, what did Rishabh do? He still had the strength to care.
Sir, did you have any trouble reaching here? Rest, before you drive back.
And forever consoling his weepy-eyed mother.
माँ, चिल्ली पनीर ला दे, सब ठीक हो जाना.
Because she knew how bad it was.
The wounds are very deep. We might have to amputate his leg. Pray for him.
Meanwhile, at Max, he underwent plastic surgery for his face. But for his knees, BCCI Secretary Jay Shah had him airlifted to a Mumbai hospital, where another successful surgery involving a reconstruction of 3 of the 4 ligaments in his right knee took place. For many weeks, Rishabh remained bedridden, unable to walk or even move his arms. His doctor, Dinshaw Pardiwala, was cautious.
If you can get back to competitive cricket, it will be a miracle.
But perhaps he underestimated Pant's resolve.
I'll follow whatever protocol is required to get back.
Fortunately, Pant's spine survived the incident and his nerves in the lumbar region, which supply sensation to the body, were intact, a miracle in itself. But doubts remained as to whether he would be able to get back to being the swashbuckling cricketer that he was and destined to be. Certainly yes, but the agony of pain, physical, mental and the many roadblocks for months to come, including missing the home World Cup, how did Pant fight it out? First subscribe and press the bell icon for notification, then let's see. The early phase of his battle for survival was extremely tough as Rishabh needed help in performing the simplest of tasks, even brushing his teeth. And despite his family and friends' love and support who stood by him like a rock, Pant craved isolation and he withdrew from the world, needing space to heal both physically and mentally. In those quiet moments, he found solace in something simple, food, especially rasmalai, which acted like a dopamine hit to calm his mind. He repeated his mantra to himself till he believed it,
Being happy or being sad, you have to get the job done.
and derived inspiration from his own life struggle when, as a 12-year-old, he would travel 200 kilometers with his mother from Roorkee to Delhi to train at the famous Sonnet Club under the guidance of his childhood coach Tarak Sinha. How the mother-son duo often took shelter at the Moti Bagh Gurdwara in Delhi when they ran out of money. And even after performing the last rites of his father, his focus towards cricket didn't waver. So much so that just a day after, he played in the IPL.
I have to honor my father's dream. He wanted me to become a cricketer.
And of course, how he broke the almighty Aussies in their own backyard.
ले तोड़ दिया गाबा का घमंड.
Now, 45 days after the horrible accident came his first moment of victory. When he walked on his terrace using a walker for the first time, a rebirth of sorts. His strength recovery started around the same time, but done late night in a gym in Gurgaon, which remained exclusively open for him. And why not the NCA in Bengaluru? Because their gym was located on the first floor, which obviously Rishabh couldn't climb yet. In Delhi, his adopted home, Pant sometimes hung out with the lanky veteran Ishan Sharma, often chilling at a poolside. It was here where he ditched his walker and moved on to using crutches. Then, to get a feel of the crowd, he made his first entry in the stadium to watch his former IPL team Delhi Capitals, albeit wearing a heavily strapped knee and a crutch. Good news kept coming in medically as well. You don't need a second knee surgery. Progress is good. And finally, by May, 5 months after the accident, the walking stick was gone. By mid-June, Rishabh was able to climb the stairs at NCA without a problem, where in full throttle, he started training for his upper body and a month later for his lower body too. Though he generally shied away from watching India's every match as it really depressed him. Will I ever be able to play again? Instead, he enjoyed watching the Ashes because the English were playing baseball like the way he liked to play the game. A style of play he already owned, as Rohit Sharma too pointed out. It's Rish ball, not baseball. It took 7 to 8 months, but the pain finally vanished, though the doctors had strictly forbidden. No cricket for now, but everyone is allowed one cheat day, and he batted for the first time in months in a local friendly match in Bengaluru. And then the devotee went on to pay his respects to the gods in Kedarnath and Badrinath for healing him. However, not being part of the 2023 ODI World Cup, that too at home, was killing him inside. That's when his mentor Saurav Ganguly and coach Ricky Ponting stepped in, bringing him along for the Delhi IPL trials, distracting his mind from the target. Even giving him a seat at the 2024 IPL auction table in Dubai, the first active player to get this privilege. There was someone else guiding him throughout as well, none other than MS Dhoni, the mentor, but more than that, like an elder brother. Pant even enjoyed Christmas festivities with Dhoni's family. The legendary VVS Lakshman at the NCA also spent time with Rishabh, enjoying conversations about life, sport, and everything in between. To get him back to competitive cricket, NCA arranged his local accommodation, where his new team of chefs and nutritionists banished his rasmalais, biryanis, and fried chicken indulgences, and helped him discover homemade delicacies like Goan bhindi and chili chicken made with 5 ml of olive oil that would help him stay healthy. Pant embraced a brutal training schedule, shedding 16 kilos, his body leaner and sharper than it ever was. Complete discipline was maintained. Phones, iPad, TVs all shut down by 11 p.m. to ensure the 8 hours of sleep he needed. Rishabh pushed himself every day. Hours of batting, handling deliveries flying past at over 140 kilometers an hour, reclaiming his strength and his confidence. And last, he took up his wicket-keeping drills, repeated squats on his recovered knees, refusing to cut corners. Finally, when the IPL loomed for a comeback, he had the option to ease in as an impact player to play a few overs every match. But the resolute Pant made it clear to the management, I will be captain and keep wickets full time. Despite the scars, a trail of 200 stitches running across his temple and forehead, it could not break his spirit. And the key to the miracle, in his own words, I celebrated every small victory. The first steps without crutches, the first jog, the first full swing of the bat, even brushing and bathing on my own. Pant is not just back, He's back stronger, more focused, and hungrier than ever. Bisbo's limerick, crashing his car in the dead of the night, India's most gifted, gave cricket fans a fright. But he battled sure death, drawing on every last breath. He walked back to the crease, his spirit as bright. You will also find these sources listed in our video description section.